Joining me here at the corporate headquarters, the new corporate headquarters, Steve Easterbrook is the CEO and president of McDonald's. It's great to see you, Steve.
Great
Good
to
morning.
see you. Good morning.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. It's a fun day. Well, thank you for making the trip. It's going to be a fun day for us today.
It's a big day. Why is this important to the company?
Well, I guess we've tried to evolve the business in a really meaningful way the last 2 or 3 years. And I felt it was really important that for our people, that we were positioned ourselves in areas where our customers were, where competition was, where the emerging trends are coming through in society. And we have a wonderful, rich heritage, and we were based out in Oak Brook, which is on the edge of the city, for about the last 40-something years. It's been a wonderful facility for us, but actually it was a little detached from everyday life. And I thought it was important that we, myself included, were in the cut and thrust. And we're in this vibrant part of Chicago called the West Loop area, and we could not be better placed to be competitive in this kind of modern, fast-paced world.
Right. You like to say you want to make McDonald's a modern, progressive burger company.
Right.
And this is sort of a piece of that.
It's a piece of it, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's certainly much more than symbolic, because actually this is such an attractive area of the city. And if you think about the trends that are going to shape our future, the talent pool that's going to help us win in those little battles that go on is likely to be based down the city rather than back out in the suburbs. So really we're trying to position ourselves well for the future, not just for today, but actually for the future. And we don't always know what those emerging trends are going to be, but I think that talent pool, the younger talent pool, is likely to be more based around here in the city.
Speaking of the future,
yeah,
you have this initiative, I guess internally at least you call it the experience of the future.
That's right.
Which we have some video of.
Okay.
People's experience at McDonald's is about to change, if it hasn't changed already.
Yeah, it's a dramatic change. I mean, if you think about it, only 2 years ago, if you're a customer, there were really only 2 ways you could get served at McDonald's. You walk into the front counter and you line up, and then you take your tray and you find your drink and you find a table, or you go through the drive-thru. Whereas now we're introducing so many other options for our customers. They can now choose whether they go to a self-order kiosk, they can order through mobile order and pay, they can even come curbside and we'll run it out to you in the car, as well as the existing traditional ways. And you can pay in different ways, and you can customize your food in different ways. So I think we're just trying to add much more choice and variety, and also modernize the real estate as well, particularly here in the US. It got a little bit tired looking. So part of this is also just having a much fresher, more modern, inviting, warm, engaging restaurant.
Talk to me about the kiosks specifically.
Okay. Yeah.
Because there's all kinds of metrics surrounding it regarding what it does to average check, right? What it does to throughput, the speed.
Well, it works on a number of different functions. You're absolutely right. I mean, first of all, if customers come in, they now have a choice. They can either go to the front counter, as they always have done. If people want to just dwell, have a little bit more time, they can go to the self-order kiosk, they can browse through the menu, they can start to selecting, and they start to see the broader ranges perhaps, or they may want to customize the food they've got. Then you can also pay clearly on credit, debit there as well. And you can then receive table service. So you can then just take a little tent card, a Bluetooth-enabled tent card, take it to the table, and we'll bring your food out for you. So what we are finding is when people dwell more, they tend to select more. So there is a little bit of an average check boost as well that comes with it.
Interesting. And this is going to be in all U.S. restaurants?
Yeah, so we've undertaken a dramatic program here in the US. I mean, we're slightly more advanced in some of our international markets. UK, Canada, Australia, fully rolled out. France almost, and Germany is around halfway. US is a little bit behind that. So we're actually going to be transforming 1,000 restaurants per quarter.
Like 10 or 11 a day.
So, I mean, the scale of this project is remarkable. I mean, the project management that's required around this is immense. And so exactly right. So it's 1,000 per quarter for the next 8 or 9 quarters, and that'll get us pretty well caught up in the US. But as you say, 10 restaurants per day are opening up in local communities. Local communities are waking up to a dramatically transformed McDonald's.
So you mentioned you're a little bit ahead of this in other markets, which is what people were looking at on those Q1, that upside surprise on international Q1 comps, thinking, is this what the U.S. is in for if it works similarly?
No, everyone's trying to read across, and I understand that. But and that's what gives us confidence here in the U.S. I mean, our leadership team, our owner-operators are seeing the success of this elsewhere in the world. I'm not going to promise an absolute carry across the results, but we do know it helps grow the business. Customers come back more often, they stay a little longer, and they're just more engaged with us as a business and as a brand. So we know it's the right route to go down, and that's why we're accelerating so hard, because we can't get there quick enough in the US. It's exciting for us.
I want to give Jim a minute to ask questions in a second. Really quick, though, on the consumer.
Right.
How How are they feeling? You got 3.8% unemployment, 17-year low. You got sort of gas prices and interest rates as well.
Yeah, I think as we were entering the year, we thought there would be a bit of an uptick in consumer confidence generally, because with fuller employment is always a good thing. Wage inflation is benefiting, people's pockets, and but then what you also and probably the trickle through from tax reform as well, we thought could ultimately help as well. I guess on the flip side now, we're seeing interest rates increase a little bit as well. And gas prices, when they fill up their car, they just cost them a few more dollars. So at the moment, I think uncertain. There's not a negative feel, but nor are they boisterously out there spending either.
But definitely short of your expectations going into the year.
Yeah, I thought there'd be a little bit more of a tailwind. We thought there'd be a little bit more of a benefit in the business, but it would only been a 1 or 2% growth anyway. So, I mean, we'll just fight for that. We're in a market share fight, and we're fighting for customers aggressively.
Speaking of all of that, Jim, want to give you a chance to get in too.
Yeah, Steve, I'm concerned. I'm a McDonald's guy through and through, as is my wife. But this weekend we said, you know what? Let's just try the other guys. Let's go to Smashburger. We waited 15 minutes, nothing. Then we said, let's go to Wendy's. She wanted to try the Baconator. 15 minutes. If you give us all this choice, Steve, are we going to have to wait this long? Because 15 minutes is too long for fast food.
Of course it's too long, Jim. Yeah, I mean, part of what we're trying to do is actually provide more ways that customers can order so we can actually serve customers quicker. So, if you can separate, instead of having to line up at the front counter and everyone be in one line, you can go to one of the self-order kiosks, for example, serve yourself and we'll bring it out. And meanwhile, we can then still at the same time serve the front counter customers. So we have something called an innovation center here where we model all the changes that we do. We run our menus and almost like a real-time customer approach through it to make sure that we don't end up with those little bottlenecks that frustrate customers.
Okay, that's important. Now, the other thing is I went to McDonald's 2 weeks ago. Steve, there's all these people. I did drive-through. There's all these people say, oh, what's a tree? What's a two? What's a... Hey, wait, a big one. They don't know how to order. I know how to order. When am I going to be able to cut in front of these people? I am not going to stay behind these people who don't know how to order.
Well, Jim, you need to download the app, put your favorites into it. We have a geo-fence of 300 feet around every restaurant. Once you break through the geo-fence, it'll recognize you. You say, I'm ready to order, and then they'll say, do you want to come in store to select? Do you want to go through the drive-through, or do you want curbside pickup? So you take control of that, Jim. We appreciate your business, and we're ready to serve you in any way you want, and you can skip the line.
And this is why this stock goes higher. Thank you. This is what people care about more than anything. You know that. They don't want to wait, and they want to drive through and don't want to be behind people who, honestly, don't know how to speak into a speaker.
Jim, it's a nuts and bolts business. This is a nuts and bolts business. We serve a lot of customers, and it's the little details, it's the little attention to details that really make the difference. Because whilst we can get excited about our big plans, customers don't care about that. They just want to get their food hot and fresh, friendly service, and at fair value. And that's what we're focusing on.
So you got customer behavior, and the engineering obviously is one thing.
Right.
I got to ask you about trade.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we were saying on Squawk Box, the prior program this morning, just how American the arches are, what a powerful symbol it is around the globe. And yet you got the French finance minister saying that this meeting last week was more like G6+1 rather than G7.
Yeah. I mean, I think the geopolitical sensitivities are heightened all around the world at the moment. And I mean, part of the way we structure ourselves is we always have local management run the local countries. And I think that helps just localize us as a brand, because rather than just being seen as a dominant global behemoth, we just want to be the local McDonald's. We want to be the French McDonald's, or we want to be the Chinese McDonald's, or the US McDonald's. So in terms of trade otherwise, in terms of tariffs and some of the things like that, we're not hugely exposed to it, because largely most of our basket of goods we buy in country. Certainly our food basket is typically locally sourced. Certain items like coffee beans, Happy Meal toys, we do have to trade those around the world. So, we're keeping an eye on what that means if there are any tariffs around. But at the moment, we don't feel significantly exposed.
You think fears about it, though, are limiting the stock at least?
I don't think so. We've now had 11 quarters of growth, top line growth, and the market's reacted very generously to us over the last 3 years. And I think the reality is, if we just keep driving the growth and taking care of the cost side of things, and they will end up being winners and losers in this market share battle. And if we keep positioning ourselves on the winning side of that, I think the market will react accordingly.
Every morning we come in here, we look at Italy, Spain, Argentina, Turkey, right? Brazil, whether it's Forex disruption or political disruption or supply chain disruption. Does that impact demand? Have you felt it?
Yes, in certain markets, absolutely you do. I mean, interestingly, we're trading really well in Italy at the moment, but we've got a great management team in there, and the owner-operators are excited, and they're investing in the experience of the future, and that's really helping a lot. Things like delivery initiatives help drive growth. But there are certain economies that clearly we're not immune from it. So, we're struggling a little bit. We're not as strong as we want to be in Russia. We're struggling a little bit in South Korea at the moment. So there are little pockets that we keep an eye on, but actually the most significant markets that make up the majority of our business, pretty solid economies and pretty solid businesses there. So we feel we're somewhat safeguarded from that.
Here in the U.S., I wonder if freight or oil are stressing the supply chain too.
It's not a big deal for us. I mean, obviously there's a cost knock on, but because we have such high volumes, kind of the fuel cost in terms of part of our supply chain is manageable for sure. And of course, with a long-established supply chain we have, we can buy futures on this stuff as well. So again, you can help manage the cost fluctuations. The piece about fuel that matters most is to our customers. That's why we're sensitive to it, because if they've got $5 or $10 less in their pocket at the end of a week, something's going to give. We don't want that to be a visit to McDonald's, or they just may want to just tighten the purse strings a bit.
This morning, American Airlines warned of fare hikes if oil prices stay high.
Right.
Is there a national average at which you would get more concerned?
No, really, it really doesn't influence us. I mean, again, the other thing we do see sometimes is some of our restaurants next door to oil stations. Sometimes, if fewer people are filling up, we can sometimes see some of the demand there ease up a little bit. So no, when we kind of double click on it, it really isn't carrying through to our business in any great way, shape or form.
Some of your competitors have had some dramatic episodes of late. Starbucks shutting down their restaurants for a day for anti-bias training. I mean, your bathroom policy, you sort of face the same questions in terms of what is abuse of the third place. How do you think about that?
I mean, every business is under greater scrutiny than any time before. And social media allows that to happen, and also public expectations of how big companies behave are heightened, and that's fair enough. I mean, for us, first of all, let me be clear. We have absolutely no tolerance at all of any sort of harassment or any sort of discrimination right across McDonald's. But one of the benefits we do have is our local managers, local owner-operators. They know how to take care of the customers, and we just want to be a warm and inviting restaurant. We don't want anything more complicated. We value diversity and inclusion, so everyone's welcome at McDonald's.
North Korea, there have been some reports that they would like a McDonald's. Should they get one?
Well, I've heard the reports as well, but I've got to say, I mean, we're in 120 countries, so we're in the majority of the countries in the world, and actually, most recently, we opened in Kazakhstan. So that was the only market that was opened during my tenure as well. So that was fun. And opening a new country is a lot of fun. I've got to say, North Korea is not part of our discussions right yet, but you never say never.
Plastic straws, really quick, has been a bit of an issue. Because there was a shareholder proposal that failed. I think you recommended against it. But meanwhile, Miami, Seattle, UK, maybe California now.
I mean, the whole topic of what they call single-use plastics is on everyone's radar. And there was a natural history program. It actually came out the UK, which started to highlight some of the issue with plastics in the oceans, and it really captured people's attention, understandably. I mean, we've made our commitments about waste recycling, either to reuse or to recycle. But there really isn't currently a viable alternative that's non-plastic at the moment.
At scale, you mean?
At scale. At the scale we need. I mean, I won't bore you with the stats, but when you have 60 million customers a day, you need a lot of straws. So, but we are working, I mean, we will continue to explore, because we're trying to contribute back in any way we can to the society, whether it's through a training of our people, whether it's through environmental standards. We're the only restaurant business that signed up to the Paris Climate Accord around reducing gas emissions. So whatever we can do around waste and recycling, it's a very visible part of our business, and we know customers would respond well to any solution we can bring.
Finally, is it nice to have a president who, at least reportedly, loves McDonald's.
We love every customer. We love every customer, so he's very welcome as well. I sense he's a regular customer as well. I haven't seen him in the restaurants, but seemingly food. Maybe he's on McDelivery. Maybe he's getting it through McDelivery.
He's on the mobile app.
He's on the Uber Eats at the moment.
Congratulations on the headquarters.
Thank you.
Big unveiling today.
Yeah.
And customers will be looking for the changes to their neighborhood restaurant, I imagine, in the future.
Yeah, well, I think, first of all, here is a little bit of fun. I think you've had a chance to test it. We thought we'd do something different here because this is a one-of-a-kind restaurant. And we're on a very fashionable street for restaurants. So we wanted to demonstrate that we could have a little twist, little sense of humor, and something which will pique people's interest. So we brought the international menu in. I think you've had a chance to try some of it. Spicy chicken's my favorite. There's also salads from France, desserts from Latin America. We've got the loaded fries. And I've got to tell you, they're selling pretty well.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Steve, thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.